Hello and welcome to today's session. I am Katie and I'm going to be your advisor for this session of the Healthier Pregnancy Programme. Today we are looking at eating well in pregnancy. So just a quick few pointers. This session should be about 1 hour long, depending how long it takes for you to pause and do the tasks within it, if that's what you feel like doing today. I suggest that you have a pen and paper with you or the supporting worksheets, documents that we've provided with you for this session. So have those handy. If you want to have a drink, obviously, or you can pause it at any point, please feel free to do so. As I mentioned, we have put pause points in throughout the session. These are timed so you can explore and have a think about something, consider what we are talking about, or thinking about how you might implement something into your life and your day-to-day. So yeah, that's the basics. So let's begin. So this is the session overview, and hopefully by the end of this session you will know some of the benefits and why it's important to eat well during pregnancy for you and for your baby. Hopefully you'll have an understanding of the Eat Well guide and the general guidance around healthy and nutritious eating, and hopefully you'll have gained some ideas on how you can eat well through your day. So this, we're going to be reviewing where you are currently and considering what ideas, swaps or changes you might be able to implement to support you eating well throughout your pregnancy and into, and after birth as well. So eating well in pregnancy and beyond. So a little note on eating well. It basically means that to eat well in pregnancy, having a balanced diet that supports both the mother's health and the baby's development. So basically that's what eating well is aiming to do in a nutshell. So first we're going to start exploring what you, exploring or reviewing what you eat or drink and snack on a typical or normal standard kind of day for you. So let's start with a little example. So what might you eat and drink in a day? So we asked Kirsty here, and she jotted down Tuesday's meals as a little example for her to start exploring, which is what you're going to do alongside the recording throughout the session as well at different points. So here's Kirsty's example. So for breakfast, she had a glass of orange juice, 2 slices of toast with jam and butter and strawberry yogurt. Lunch, she grabbed a ready-made tuna sandwich from the shop with a bag of crisps and a banana. She probably had a drink as well. That doesn't mention that there. But it might be in the snack section at the end. Anyway, for tea or dinner, she had 3 sausages, chips, beans, and then had a chocolate bar after that. And throughout the day, alongside this, she had 3 digestive biscuits, a fizzy drink. She nibbled on some of the kids' leftovers that they left of their dinner, had a coffee, grabbed a cappuccino while she was out and about, and 4 teas or coffees with milk and sugar throughout the day. That's just a bit of an example of how we break it down. So now we're going to hand it over to you. So on a piece of paper or the worksheet, if you have that available, I want you to make notes on what a typical day has recently looked like for you. So pick, a normal day within the last few days and jot down what you ate within that day. So think about what you had for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and whatever extra snacks and drinks you had as well throughout the day. So that's anything is included in that Okay, so just try and be really honest and pop that down there. So have a little pause now. So have a little pause, take as long as you need just to do that task. And when you're ready, restart the recording of this session again. So we will come back to that in a bit, but we're just going to think about some of the benefits of eating well for you and baby during your pregnancy. So have a little moment, it's not going to be a proper pause, but have a little, is there anything you can think of that is beneficial from eating a healthy, balanced diet for you and your baby during pregnancy? So just have a little think, what benefits, why that might be important for pregnancy to have a nutrient rich, vitamin rich, lots of protein, carbohydrates, things like that within your diet, your day to day. So here are just some that we've collected, some of the benefits of eating well for you and baby during pregnancy. So first up, we've got provides the energy we need and the nutrients for daily tasks, as well as energy for the development of your baby, for the fetus, and to maintain your maternal health. Our body is doing so many functions. It is constantly on the go, and we need to fuel that with the right energy, vitamins and minerals so it can do its thing. Okay, further benefits generally is supporting the prevention of various health conditions, some of these being cardiovascular disease, obesity and diabetes, among other things. It can improve mood, sleep and overall health and mental health, and it has a really key role in reducing the risk of gestational diabetes. And for baby, the benefits to baby are it generally supports the development and growth of the baby, providing key nutrients for all of the right things to happen at the right time. So that's essential. Like I said here, so nutrients, vitamins and minerals also needed, not just in development, for that healthy start once the baby is born. It's so important. Okay, eating healthy during pregnancy can support your baby's health, like I said, not only in utero, so while they're inside, and in as a baby, but also through into adulthood. It also supports the baby being a healthy weight and reduce complications during labour. So many benefits there, and they're not all of the benefits. There will be more benefits. These are just some of them. So yeah, if you have or know any others, please do let us know. So we're going to introduce the Eat Well Guide now. You've probably seen this before. I will just introduce it quickly if you haven't. So the Eat Well Guide is a government recommendation for adults in the UK, and this recommendation being to for a balanced, healthy diet for adults to kind of use as the basis of their meals throughout the day. This is still relevant and applicable during pregnancy. There is just a bit more information you might need here and there to make sure that it's supporting your pregnancy in the best way. So that's what we're going to look at now. Here we have then the Eat Well Guide. This guide is a kind of highlight and overview of what the government recommends us to eat to get all our vitamins, minerals and the energy we need to function well for our day. The main point of it, the circle in the middle, highlights the 5 areas which contains lots of essential nutrients that we need within our daily diet. And the size of each section represents the proportion of those nutrient areas that we need. So your biggest areas are the green one and the yellow one, which are your fruit and veg and your starchy carbohydrates. Then we've got the pink, which are your proteins, so beans, pulses, fish, eggs, and other meats and other sources of protein. Then we've got a section for dairy or dairy alternatives to get your calcium in, and then a small section there which are your healthy fats, so your oils and spreads. Around the edge, I've got just a bit more information. It's just worth noting that high sugar and fat are just around the edge there, so to be had in limited amounts in moderation, and not to be kind of the main part of your food or diet. Now we're going to expand on each of those sections a little bit, so we've got a bit of a clearer picture to what each section is used for and why we need it. So this first section we're looking at is the fruit and vegetables in pregnancy. So it's a very important one of the biggest sections as well. So we're making up about 1/3 of what we eat through the day off this part of the Eat Well guide. So fruit and vegetables are high in nutrients, high in minerals and vitamins and fibre we need to support yourself and to support the baby's development and growth in pregnancy. Alongside that, there's also fibre, which is essential for our body's functions, especially in digestion and the processing of foods and what we eat. This is also important in helping and reducing the prevention of constipation, which can be prevalent within pregnancy. Yeah, it's very common and lots of women suffer with pregnancy, so getting your fruit and veg on board is good for keeping that at bay and promoting digestion as well. What we recommend is aiming for 5 portions of fruit and vegetables per day and thinking about eating the rainbow, so eating the different colours of fruit and veg just to get the range of vitamins and minerals in from these sources. Think about now where you're at currently, maybe with the fruit and vegetables in your day-to-day. If you're currently eating more than 5 a day, that's great. Continue to do so. See where you can add bits in and explore maybe different versions or new things. But if you feel like your fruit and veg is quite limited, then it's building on from where you are currently. Don't worry in thinking, right, that's it, that's, or feel like it's a long way away. The kind of getting to 5 fruit and veg might feel daunting, is what I'm trying to say. But build it in a little bit at a time. Think about how you could add one other or 2 other pieces of fruit and vegetable in a day. So yeah, just have a little think about that now. It might be adding things into the food you already cook or eat. So if you already make a bolognese, whether that be with meat or corn or vegetables or what have you, are there other vegetables that you can chuck in there as well alongside what you're currently doing? Or you could add as a side dish or add on it extra to the side of the plate, or having a piece of fruit or veg alongside your meals or at snack times as well. So there's just a few ideas there, including trying to include one with every meal might be a good place to start. Sorry, I'm fidgeting. And it might just be worth noting that fruit juices can be counted to as one of your portions of fruit a day, and that's in 150 ml glass, so it's not a lot. It's probably only small glasses worth, but still it can be in small amounts. It can be supportive to getting vitamins, and especially kind of orange juice, apple juice. So you're getting your vitamin C from your orange juice there. It's also worth mentioning that fresh, frozen, or canned or dried fruit, vegetables are all count. So, and they have a longer shelf life, won't go off like fresh fruit does. So if you buy fresh fruit but struggle to eat it in time, it might be worth thinking, is there a canned version? Is there a frozen version that might be worth having in the fridge, kind of thing? So yeah, maybe have a little moment now and think about how that might look for you. Add in 1 or 2 more pieces of fruit and vegetables into your day. Start with things you like as well. I don't think it's got to be really exotic or anything wild. Start with the things you know you like, that you know you can easily add in, and then just build up from there. Yeah, see how you get on. The next section we're going to look at is the next biggest proportion on the Eat Well guide, and that is starchy carbohydrates. Quite a big section, and it's recommended to base your meals around, or have some with each of your meal. Have some starchy carbohydrates with each meal of your day. This being for the fibre that we need to get into our diet, and to give the energy we need to keep functioning, to keep that going, to keep our body doing what it's doing. So it'll help with that kind of feeling of tiredness and fatigue if we can keep having some slow release carbohydrates, let's say, throughout our day. And as I've just mentioned there, that's one of the main reasons why we have starchy carbohydrates. Also got a good range of nutrients as well in there, and we often feel like this is maybe a section we've got to monitor or keep limited, but actually just make sure you're having your whole grain, whole meal options to keep your energy levels up and your blood sugars maintained throughout the day. It'll definitely help. So maybe have a little think about what starchy carbohydrates you include in your day currently. Could you swap up to wholemeal or whole grain options? Does your cereal have a good lot of fibre in it, or is it more sugary? Is that an area you might be able to swap to, or something you might be able to change up within your day-to-day to support your energy levels and how you feel on a day-to-day basis? So just have a few minutes now thinking how you can get the whole meal, whole grain, high fibre kind of starchy carbohydrates into your day, or the kind of potatoes, the cereals, those kind of things that'll keep you going, keep you fueled. Really, that's a good word to use in this section. Next up, we have the protein section. So this is the pink section of the Eat Well guide. It includes, we've got on there eggs, nuts, seeds, beans, lentils, lean meat, fish, oily fish, lean meats like chicken, turkey. Yeah, so try and maybe pick low fat options. So that's why it says lean meats, lean mince, things like that. So your lower fat cuts for this. Protein is the building blocks basically of growth and repair, and during pregnancy obviously that is more important than ever as well. So protein is the cell production and keeping the development of your baby going. So trying to eat some protein from various sources, whatever sources kind of suit yourself, depending on your preferences with your diet each day. And like I say, that can include beans, pulses, lean meats, fish, eggs, nuts, seeds, lentils. There are also bits of protein found in other of nutrients. You know, your dairy often is a source of protein as well, but thinking of these high protein sources and how you can get them into your diet. So just have a minute now thinking, do you get enough protein within your day? Most people do with the diets that we have as the general population. It might be just worth thinking about making sure that that is the case, and how you could include protein within your diet if that isn't the case. Obviously, the pictures shown are an example. They're not all of the things that could be included, so it might be worth having a look into it. I would especially be mindful of this section if you don't eat meat, if you are vegetarian or vegan. Really think about getting your protein sources, your protein kind of recommended daily intake into your day, prioritizing that a little bit to keep the growth and repair and development of you and your baby happening. So now we're moving on to dairy and dairy alternatives. That is the blue section on the Eat Well guide, and as you can see, it's getting a little bit smaller now, so we probably don't need as much of this in our day compared to the other 3 sections before this, but it's still an important area. Dairy and dairy alternatives provide the calcium we need for bone strength and development. That is vital for ourselves, but also for the development of our baby, which is happening currently. So be mindful, just a little caveat here. If you don't drink cow's milk, but you go for soy, almond milk, other milk alternatives, just check there is a source of vitamin C within that. So that most are fortified with vitamin C, which means it's been added to make sure you still get that nutrient for your body, because otherwise it could lead to deficiencies. So make sure that, like I say, the milk or milk alternatives, milk has vitamin C in it, milk alternatives, just check that that is still present there. Alongside that, there are yogurts, cheeses, and various things like that. Please be mindful, some cheeses are unpasteurized, and that's recommended to avoid in pregnancy. But for more information on that, I would signpost to or go and have a look at the NHS Food under their foods to avoid section of the website. In that section, there are, what am I trying to say, explanations, and they will identify more of the various cheeses and cheese types that you might need to avoid. Unpasteurized milk potentially, or raw milk, you know, that's a thing at the minute. So please go and have a look at that just to make sure you're keeping you and baby safe. So then we'll come on to think about how we can include this section of Eat Well guide into our day-to-day, our meals, our food that we eat to make sure we're getting the calcium we require. So what is your dairy intake currently like? And I'll say dairy alternatives of the vegetarian vegan options with that. as well. Do you think you're getting enough? And how might you increase that? Some people do really struggle getting this segment into their diet. But it's actually really important, like I say, especially during pregnancy and for women in later life as well, but that's not relevant right now. So it might be worth just thinking about where you can add that in. Is it adding a bit of extra cheese within a meal, adding cream or yogurt to dishes? It it might be, just think about how you can do that and what would work for you. And now we're coming on to thinking about keeping hydrated during pregnancy. Easier said than done sometimes, so I do get that. So it is recommended to drink 6 to 8 glasses a day. That is the same, if not a little bit more. If you can drink a little bit more in pregnancy. Water is needed to produce the fluid around your baby and help increase your blood volume. So water is really important for us generally as humans, and definitely during pregnancy and the process of creating a baby. It's keeping hydrated, keeping like I say, increasing there's an increase in blood volume to support the baby's kind of blood and heartbeat. We're kind of giving all that, making all that happen. So you can keep hydrated to keep, obviously, our kidneys flushed, and helps with constipation and all the other reasons that I've just stated as well. So to try and be mindful. If you can't, if you're struggling to do any of the other sections, but try and get your water on board. And I say water, but hydration. So it can be water, it can be squash, no sugar squash. Sparkling water's fine. Milk does count in moderation. Don't want you to drink 6 to 8 glasses of that. That might be problematic. Will be problematic, but ideally water-based drinks. And aim for 2 litres a day, so that's 6 to 8 glasses. And just think about ways, or what you'd like to drink, and ways to get that into your day. Now is probably a good time just to mention that no alcohol is recommended at all during pregnancy. This has been pulled directly from the NHS website, so if you want more information on that, please do feel free to visit the alcohol in pregnancy page from the NHS. Like I say, but it is recommended that if you're pregnant or planning to become pregnant, you should not drink alcohol, and this will keep any risk to your baby to a minimum. So as I pointed out, as I first introduced the Eat Well guide, there is a little section at the side, and it's this one, the most fun one, the bits we enjoy that are important and need to feature, or often feature, within the food we eat within our day. And it's recommended to eat most of our calories each day from the Eat Well kind of circle and those sections. There is also acknowledgement that the foods we enjoy are often ones like the ones here in this picture that are higher in fat and sugar, and these are okay to feature, but try to limit them as much as possible. These are often fatty and sugary foods, so that means they are quite high in calories and have very little or no nutritional benefit to you or your baby. Things that we probably don't realise are high in sugar, like sauces, especially tomato sauce, things like that, quite high in sugar. Your barbecue sauces, your sweet chili sauces, things like that. Then on the flip side, we've got your mayo, mayonnaise kind of based sauces, or your creamy condiments, and they are quite high in fat. So still worth being mindful of how often and how much we use those within our meals. So high sugar will boost energy for short term, but often lead to a crash in your blood sugar, which leads to needing to consume more. So you can see the cycle is easy to get into, and that's where we would recommend going back to the sections on the Eat Well guide, the main bit, and just thinking what you could eat off there instead, maybe, rather than just turning to chocolate chocolate crisps, things like that in those moments, because it's actually quite short-lived and not going to give us much nutritional value for the amount of calories we consume. So they're calorie dense but nutrient poor generally. So just have a think now how often or regularly these might feature within your day currently, and think about ways we could swap some of those times that you might want a chocolate bar or a biscuit. When do they happen? Does it happen at certain times of day? Is there habits around it, or feelings, things like that? So think about what you're currently doing, and if there's something you could swap for, or a way you could limit that a little bit. But yeah, just worth thinking about a little bit there. So eating well throughout the day. At the beginning, I got you to jot down a list or what you ate basically on a typical normal-ish day for you that you've kind of had recently, or what you kind of do eat normally. So now we're going to come back to that and start thinking about ways we could change, swap, or do things maybe a little bit differently that might be more supportive to you and your baby during the pregnancy. Now we're going to look at Kirsty's meal swap ideas. So if we remember back, beginning, we looked at her menu, her lunch, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks. And this is what she had on just a normal day. This was quite standard day for her, give or take. Obviously, we don't have the same things every day, but it's just starting to look at those things we might do regularly. Breakfast is often one that's repeated quite a lot. Snacks as well, it might not be the same, but similar things might happen. And just getting in the habit of doing different things sometimes. So for breakfast, for Kirsty, she had a glass of orange juice, 2 slices of toast with jam and butter, and a strawberry yoghurt. So now we've considered the Eat Well guide, and we've looked into that in a bit more depth today. Can you think of what you'd change, or what would you do differently within this meal, within Kirsty's breakfast? So now we're going to think of some ideas. So the glass of orange juice would class as one portion if she just had 150 mils. It doesn't actually say how much she's having on here, but 150 mils is fine. Or we could even swap that to swap that to squash or water or something like that if needs be. If you were struggling to up or get your water intake in, then that might be a good way to do it. So 2 slices of toast with jam and butter could be swapped to 1 slice of wholemeal toast with maybe either or butter and jam. Sometimes we do things because we've always done it. We just have butter because we butter it and then put the jam on. But do you need both? Maybe jam's enough, or maybe just butter's enough. Or maybe swap into something like peanut butter or something like that will add that layer of protein in, or something that's got some nutritional value, give us some nutrients, unlike jam or butter. So it might be worth thinking about swapping to something like that on top of your toast. Instead of strawberry yogurt, I mean, that's an option, but strawberries with a bit of natural yogurt on top might be a good swap there, because then you've got your actual, you've got your fruit and veg in from your strawberries, and you could have that fresh or frozen, or however. Strawberry yogurt or yogurts in general that are flavoured can sometimes have hidden sugar in them, so just be mindful of that. Maybe worth having a look at that. I will just mention here that we do a food label, looking at food labels to support pregnancy and family life, so that might be a good session to get booked into if you want to explore more with the food labels and understanding that. So lunch, Kirsty had a ready-made sandwich, tuna mayonnaise, bag of crisps and a banana. So see what we could have done differently here. If you're on the go, then sometimes you just have to grab what's available, and that's just how it is. But if you know you're going to be out, say if you go to work every day and you just normally just get the sandwich there, maybe just planning ahead, making a sandwich would actually help. You've got more control about what goes in it, what goes on it, and you can choose the ingredients that you use. Chances are then there might be some better nutritional content in it. So maybe a homemade sandwich using wholemeal bread or a cob or something would be good. Ham and salad, chicken and lettuce. So thinking of like getting a bit of fruit or veg in there, and a layer of protein. So tuna mayonnaise would have been good, high in protein, but very high in fat, probably with the mayonnaise, especially shop bought ones. They just seem to use so much more than we would actually put on at home. So even if Kirsty made a tuna mayonnaise sandwich at home with tuna, some mayonnaise, you could add some sweet corn or spring onions in or something, however you have it. Yeah, so as well, when you're making your own sandwich, you can skip the mayonnaise or the butter, or just choose one of them. Banana is a great addition. You could also add carrot sticks almost as an extra or different option to crisps, so you could swap that kind of thing out. If you enjoy a packet of crisps occasionally, please continue to do so, by all means. Sometimes we just do it without thinking. If we add something else in, like a hummus and a dip, or even sometimes I have breadsticks and hummus with a few carrot sticks or cucumber, that's then filling me up, giving me the fuel I need, whereas a bag of crisps just wouldn't do that. Just salty, leaves us kind of thirsty and wanting more food potentially. So for tea, Kirsty had sausage, chips and beans, and then chocolate bar pudding. Again, it's just thinking about portion sizes sometimes when we come to our evening meals. Would 2 sausages be enough potentially? Just think about if you need 3, or swapping to a lower fat sausage instead. It doesn't say what they are here, but there are the kind of 30% less fat versions out there, and that would be a good swap, really, especially if you didn't want to cut down on the amount of sausages. Swapping from the chips to mash or baked potato, and again, having chips occasionally with your evening meal is fine. It's just probably we don't want to be having every meal with it. They can be quite high, they are quite high in fat generally, depending which ones we buy or how we cook them. Beans can be fine, but we could probably swap if we wanted to add a fruit and veg option in there, or add that on instead of one of the sausages. So you could just have 2 sausages, swap to your mashing or baked potato, have your beans, but maybe add some peas and sweet corn on, or carrots or broccoli, or whatever you like, kind of thing, that have then got them added nutrients, added fibre. So, and a chocolate bar, so have something that you will enjoy sometimes, and have it intentionally, and do enjoy it. You know, sit, enjoy it, have it because you really want it, really enjoy it. Yeah, there's space for that, isn't there? So, oh, my head's over this box a little bit too much, but 3 chocolate digestives is easy done. We've all been there. Like, that's not actually that many really in the grand scheme of things, but it adds up. Like, look at all the extras on top of the meals that Curtis had throughout the day. So you might be having chocolate or chocolate biscuits alongside hot drinks. So that's often the case. It comes up quite a lot. I do it. I love a cup of tea and a biscuit, or a cup of tea and a chocolate bar, but I've got to be mindful that I don't do that every single time I go make a cup of tea or a hot drink. So we could maybe swap that or reduce the amount having. It is extremely hard to just have one biscuit though. So yeah, let me know how you got on with that. Fizzy drink, it hasn't expanded on that there, so that could be anything. Fizzy drinks often have sugar in, especially if they are not diet versions. So it's just good to be mindful of the amount of fizzy drinks we're drinking. Even diet fizzy drinks can have a high amount of caffeine in, which is also worth being mindful of, because yeah, it's not recommended to drink too much caffeine during pregnancy, and as this mounts up throughout the day, you're going to be exceeding your caffeine intake that's recommended in pregnancy. So it might be worth noting that down. So swapping to diet fizzy drinks, if you still want them featured, just monitor how regularly this is happening, how much you have in a day, if that has also got caffeine in as well. Nibbling on the kids' leftovers. My daughter often leaves some fish fingers and peas or what have you on her plate, and I sometimes just can't resist. Probably hungry, I've not fed myself, or I'm having my tea a bit later on, what have you, so I'll just clear that up. But this is all extra, all added in. I've probably not really thought of that extra as part of what food I've eaten today either. You know, this is where the little extras can mount up, and we're having our real picture is probably different to what we think the picture of the food we've eaten in the day is. So yeah, worth being mindful of. Cappuccino, coffees through the day, again, being mindful of caffeine intake. We can get decaf options, I'm sure. That, again, it's not explained it here, but it's not said otherwise. So if you enjoy a coffee, you can continue to have one. Ask for decaf. They do them usually. I've not, no one's, I don't think, ever said to me, no, we've not got decaf cappuccino in, or decaf latte is an option these days, even when you're out and about, if you want takeaway coffee. They're often high in fat because they have quite a lot of milk in, often use whole milk, which is again all fine, but again, just might be mindful of the proportion of the food groups we're consuming, and that might then quickly build up without us realising. The syrups and the extra things they add into coffees often mount up as well. So the syrups and that kind of thing, they are all sugar in disguise, or not in disguise, because it feels and tastes sugary, doesn't it? So this might be an area just to have a look at. Are you having that without thinking? Could you enjoy it without that, or maybe just add your own sweetener or something else instead? Then she's had 4 cups of tea or coffee with milk and sugar. Again, we often have tea and coffee without thinking. We have it how we've always had it, whether that be sugar, milk. Again, just think about that you're having decaf options. Could there we have it with sweetener instead of sugar, or wean off the sugar sweeteners completely? That might be worth considering. So this is just explaining how we could tweak or adapt Kirsty's meals throughout her typical day. And now I want you to do that for yours. So consider your breakfast, lunch, dinner and snacks that you had done earlier in the session. So come back to that and think, what could you do for each section of your day? So each meal, what tweaks could have been made? What could have improved the nutrients of that meal? What could have made it fit into the Eat Well guide a little bit better? Thinking about the 5 sections we've just covered, and trying to limit the amount of high fat, high sugar snacks that we're eating. Think about the drinks as well. So either use the workbook or just make notes on the page that you've done that on previously. So we're going to pause there. So pause the recording for as long as you need to just review your typical day and see what things might be able to be swapped or added to or tweaked to increase the nutrients you're getting in your day. So snacking and snacks do become part of people's day to day. We often fit them in between meals, and in pregnancy, especially towards the 3rd trimester, you're getting bigger, baby's taking up more room, your stomach's not got as much space to fit the meals in that we would normally, your 3 meals a day. So it might be little and often snacks. So it's worth thinking about what snack ideas are good for pregnancy. So how I approach this and want you to think about it is maybe looking at the Eat Well guide as your reference. What could you snack on from 1 or 2 of the sections off there? We often think of snacks that are chocolate crisps bought from the supermarket, but I want you to kind of reimagine your snacking options into kind of picky bits from the Eat Well guide, from 1 or 2 sections of the Eat Well guide at once. So think of see if you can get something with a bit of protein in, a bit of wholemeal in, or from the starchy carbohydrates, bit of dairy, bit of from the fruit and veg. So yogurt based things, fruit and veg based things like that. So we've come up with a few options here, and these are roughly going to be between 100 and 200 calories, which is what they are. I say the recommendation is that your calorie intake should stay the same during pregnancy, but in the last trimester it might need to increase by 200 calories. So it's just taking that into account. These are roughly 100 to 200 calorie snacks that would then be that extra 200 calories to support the energy required for the last section of pregnancy. So some ideas we've put in there are small sandwich, use 1 slice of wholemeal bread with protein of your choice, so slice of ham, slice of chicken, tuna, whatever. So you can still have like mini meals. Think of it as mini meals maybe for the snack rather than a snack in a packet that we go to the cupboard and get or buy from the supermarket. So thinking mini meals, you could always have salad and veg on the side as well if you needed a little bit more from it. Hummus with veg sticks, hummus with breadsticks as well. Yogurt and fruit, think a mini breakfast. So you could have also then a mini, like as another mini breakfast idea, like a cereal option. Vegetable soup or soups are a good source, especially your fresher ones or ones you've made just from random veg. So just think now of a couple of snack ideas that would be helpful or something that you would snack on during your day. Well, that rounds up the Eating Well in Pregnancy session, and hopefully it's been useful for you. Just a few things you might be taking away from this session. So what you eat and drink in your pregnancy is what your baby eats and drinks. So everything that you put in goes through into your baby. Basing your food intake on the Eat Well guide, eating a variety of food, eating a varied diet that can give you lots of nutrients, vitamins and minerals. Eating regularly will really support pregnancy. I mentioned earlier, we might not feel like bigger meals, especially in the early stages or the later stages of pregnancy. So think about just eating smaller bits regularly and trying for those to be high in nutrients where possible. You do not need to eat for 2 in the last trimester. You may need to increase your energy by 200 calories. And drink about 2 litres of fluid a day if you are dehydrated, being sick, or if it's hot, then drink a bit more. So just be mindful of keeping on top of your hydration to keep the water levels and your baby happy. So lovely. They're the key things, key moments, I think, from this session today. Take a little moment now and just have a think. What are you going to take away from this? What are you going to go away and implement into your day-to-day, into your life to support a healthier pregnancy for you? This doesn't have to be all the things. I don't want you to take all the things and think you've got to kind of totally adhere to all the things we've said today. There's been a lot of information, but what one thing could you do? Do you want to start something? Do you want to stop something, or do you want to continue to do something to support your pregnancy? So think about one thing you can commit to here, and that will be a great first step in supporting a healthier pregnancy and a healthier you and baby. As this is on a recording, there isn't someone obviously to answer directly your questions in this moment, but please send over any questions you have about this session or the Healthier Pregnancy Programme as a whole to us, and we will get back to you. What we will do, we will also collate any common questions that come up into our coffee and chat sessions. So feel free to bring the questions you have there, and we can chat about them. Very informal, easy going space where we will just kind of lean into whatever topics are coming up with the people that attend. So feel free to bring them there. It would be lovely to see you. And here are some useful links from the session that you may find useful to go back and have a little look at, see if there's any more information you need on any of these topics. Thank you very much for staying with me for this session, and hopefully you can get something out of today. Thank you very much. Bye.